Before Southern University became what we know it as here today in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it was located in New Orleans. And then in 1914, this man behind us, Samuel Clark, became the first president of Southern University. Him and his wife worked together to help build and make Southern what it is today. And when he died in 1944, his son, Felton Grandson Clark, became the president. Now, what's more significant about this place is the thing that is behind us, which is known as Scottsbluff. Scottsbluff is one of the key things we have in recognizing the history of Scotlandville. It derived its name from the owner, Mr. William Bernard Scott, a cotton planter from the early 19th century, which then became Scotland and then became known as Scotlandville.
The area was owned by white. There was nothing but white on City Highway and by the ice house. They used to have an ice house there. And once we started doing better, getting jobs, and we always had people that we was working for, keeping their children, cleaning their yard and all that. Mm-hmm. And then finally, when we started moving up and doing better, we got jobs, and then we were able to get loans to buy homes in that area. Once that happened, then they started moving out, and then we improved and got better jobs. We came out to white people's house, and that made it better for us. And then we branched out to do better, and then they started giving us loans to buy homes, put down payment, and then a lot of our people started because of their education ability, they were able to go to Southern University. A lot of them live in the project over by Southern University, and a lot of them became ministers. They went to law school and started getting in politics, and then it branched us out to be able to buy homes, put down payments on, and then we were able to get our children in the university, the lab school, and then it started with more school. But everything was predominantly black in this area, and especially a lot of the pastors and teachers and all that lived at Southern University and was able to get apartments there. Then they went on from there doing real well in school, and they ended up going to Southern Lab. And I'm one person who was able to go to Southern Lab because of Scott Bluff Funeral Home, and that was property owned, so we owned it. So the lady who owned it, I started staying with her, and then that's how I got into Southern University, because the president of Southern University, they were all very close, and because Scott Bluff Funeral Home, and I used to stay there, then she called and told them that she wanted me to go to school. To show you how things was when it started, I was sent up there by Mrs. Metters. That was the owner of the funeral home. I went up there, and at that time, you know, if you were dark complexion, then they didn't accept you. Uh-huh. But then I went up there and came back and told the owner of Scott Bluff Funeral Home, which was a big wheel at Southern University. And they said, well, we don't have any openings. So I came back to the funeral home, who was owned by Mrs. Meadows. We came back to I came back to her home, and I told her what. But at that time, if you wasn't light complexion, then you didn't get in. Uh-huh. So then when I came back to her, and because of the president of our Southern University, she said, go back up there, and they're going to register. And that was because of who she was, because she was the president of Southern University, and they were really close, and they had money. So then at that time, all I did was walk back on campus and told them who I was. she said, we already got it done. But because of who they thought I was, dark complexion, and didn't know none of the people who were big wheels, so to speak, up there. And then that's how I got into Southern Land. And then once I got there, I went all the way through school and did very well, honor roll, and was accepted as the lighter complexion people were, students were. And I moved on up. I went on to nursing school, and I accomplished a lot. I've been here for like 40 some years.
And how has the community changed since?
It has changed an awful lot because we have other people who are able to get homes, and the drugs got very popular. People moved in, but when we first moved in, it was like a family. You know, everybody got along. We didn't have all these other people to come in, and some of them died. Some of the older people died. Mostly all of them died, and they were able to get homes from the people who moved in with that attitude and drugs and fighting and all that kind of stuff.
The second pure magnet school to open in this parish. Baton Rouge High was the first. It had grown out of its seams. It could not hold any more students. The parents in North Baton Rouge wanted a magnet school education for their children, so the board and the courts chose me to open this one as the second pure magnet school to serve those students who were in North Baton Rouge who wanted a magnet school education. It's a great responsibility because the school was closed down briefly. The students who were here were sent elsewhere. So I had to recruit students, I had to recruit faculty, the whole ball of wax to get the school running.
You were nervous at all?
Yes, I was nervous and not apprehensive, a little nervous because choosing a faculty is not easy. You have to think of every discipline that you want in the school. Of course, the core courses, English, math, science, social studies, but if one school has recruited that many teachers for the program that will hold 1,100 students across town, the question is, where am I going to get ample, highly qualified teachers to serve this school? So I had some little nervous nights, but I found them.
Yeah, because I think I read in Miss Montague, a teacher, she wrote a book about it.
Yes.
And she said you handpicked all the teachers, I think.
That is correct. I handpicked every teacher that was on the faculty. I didn't want teachers just from Southern. I didn't want teachers just from Grambling. I didn't want teachers just from LSU. I wanted a group of teachers to come from every kind of area in this country to come and be part of this faculty, and my reasoning was that students would have a wealth of material to draw from. Let me give you an example. None of my foreign language teachers came from the United States. Ms. Herrera was from Cuba. Ms. Beata Duranio was from Texas. I had another teacher, Ms. McGovern. She was from the Galapagos Islands, and all of these teachers formed